So just in case you couldn't tell, today we're talking about the Zhiyun Crane M3. This is Zhiyun's latest flagship gimbal for compact cameras and smartphones. I've been using it for the past month and there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about and share with you. And so in this video, I want to answer a couple questions. I want to answer who this gimbal is probably for, what the overall workflow and general use feels like, and where it kind of fits in the lineup of the never-ending list of gimbals that exist. Before we move on, if you like this video so far, it would help me out a ton if you hit that subscribe button. It only takes a couple seconds and you can always change your mind if you end up hating this video or me. Now, since this definitely isn't the first video on this gimbal, and like I said, there are so many gimbals out there that do a lot of the same things, I want to get kind of the easy stuff out of the way and then talk about what makes this gimbal extremely unique. So in terms of what sort of camera package it can hold, you gotta keep it pretty light here. As you can see, I'm using a Canon EOS R that I just picked up with the newer RF Nifty 50. Probably could handle a little bit bigger lens. This Canon actually isn't, I believe, on the official list, but it balances really nicely. And so really any camera around this size from Sony, Panasonic, or whoever else, this camera body is definitely on the bigger side of what can support, and it just barely clears all the axes. Now, while it may seem kind of funny to speed through the actual, how well does it stabilize thing, pretty much all gimbals nowadays are so good at all of the key modes, and we have all the usuals here: pan follow, lock, follow, POV, go, which is like the sport mode, vortex for those awesome 360s, and of course you can't forget the portrait mode for those good old TikToks. Now, the general rule of thumb for gimbals is as long as you can balance it well before turning it on, you get it properly calibrated, and the camera clears all of the different axes you may be using, then you're gonna have a really good gimbal experience, pretty much no matter what gimbal you're using, unless something's really wrong with it. All right, so let's take a step back and talk about what comes in the package. Now, there's the base, the combo, and the pro. And what we're going to be checking out here today is the pro package. And with that, you get the gimbal itself, of course, the quick release system, a heap of cables for USB Type-C and audio jacks. You get a smartphone holder, gel filters for the LED, a tripod, the expansion port, and then a microphone. And all those accessories come in a really nice backpack. I've been able to take out the accessories I don't really need, like all those extra cables that I don't really use, and in one of the existing slots will fit a small camera package like the EOS R, so anything smaller is gonna fit even better. Honestly, I could even throw some extra batteries and memory cards, and you'd have a very compact day bag to shoot with. But I want to talk about one of the accessories that not a lot of other videos have talked about, and that is that shotgun microphone. So if you've been watching this channel for the past month or so, you know I've ran into a lot of audio problems. Literally both of my main microphones broke around the same time, and so making videos and getting clean audio has actually been rather difficult. And so when I saw that this Pro Pack included a shotgun microphone, I was super interested because the website doesn't really list any specs or anything about, like, it literally just shows includes microphone, and then you see a picture that is a shotgun microphone. I thought it was going to be a really kind of cheap, plasticky feeling shotgun mic that was just kind of thrown in there. And when I first took it out of the backpack, this is the heaviest shotgun mic I think I've ever held. It is solid metal, and it is a little weird. It runs off of regular batteries, I think 1 or 2 AA's or AAA's, and it has a switch on it for off, cardioid, and hyper cardioid. But I mean, you tell me, the audio is fairly good. I mean, this is definitely on par with like a $200 mic. Again, this entire video is shot using that microphone. It's sitting just out of frame right here. Yeah, it was a super nice surprise, but kind of weird at the same time to get this pretty professional, full-size shotgun microphone that is actually like taller than the gimbal itself. But hey, I'm not complaining. This is just the beginning of what makes this gimbal kit so awesome. While we're on the topic of the microphone and audio, we should talk about the expansion port, and it gives you 3 different expansion ports. You have an extra quarter 20, you have a camera control module, and then you have a 6.5mm microphone jack. And I think this setup is so genius. Anyone who balances gimbals knows that it is so annoying when you have cables coming out of the actual camera itself, whether it's HDMI cables or audio cables, because any little tension can completely throw off the balance of your gimbal. And so the gimbal's basically giving you pass-through audio, and it's just so genius. I kind of laugh at the demo video where it's like a news guy running with the shotgun mic and someone else with the gimbal, but it definitely sells the idea and the purpose of it. So now let's talk about the gimbal itself. In my opinion, it is very hard to find that balance between well-bit and strong feeling, but also not too heavy and not too light. And in my opinion, Zhiyun absolutely knocked this out of the park. This gimbal feels so compact and light in the hands, but at the same time feels so premium and well built that I don't question its integrity at all. I also really like the Stormtrooper aesthetics with the little red accents. I think it just looks super modern and super clean. I know that doesn't add to its abilities at all, but as someone who cares about how the tech looks as well as how it functions, it's much appreciated. And all the buttons, the joysticks, and the push buttons just feel really solid. The function wheel in the front is very smooth and has nice tension to it. This gimbal isn't really intended to have any sort of like follow focus setup, so I have mine just set to roll. But if you are able to plug in a camera, you have one that is supported, you can remap this to change various settings like ISO, shutter, aperture, stuff like that. As I mentioned before, you have their newest version of their quick release system. Also, what's kind of unique is you use a thumb screw to put the base plate on the actual camera. I can definitely see this as a pro and con, as it's a rather large thumb screw, so when you set the camera down, it's not going to be flush on any surface you set the camera down on. But the reason I like it is because this gimbal setup requires 0 tools, Allen keys, quarters, anything like that to get it screwed in. So if you need to quickly take off this base plate, it comes off in like 3 seconds. The 1.22 inch screen on the back is also really nice. It's actually large considering the size of the overall gimbal, and I've never had any issues in terms of swiping or tapping the wrong controls by accident. Like most gimbals out there, a lot of the settings that you would change in the menu can be changed by using shortcuts on the actual buttons themselves, like pressing menu multiple times to get to different modes, double tapping the trigger to reset straight on, triple clicking the trigger to get to selfie or vlog mode. And speaking of vlogging, let's talk about the final and probably the biggest standout feature of this gimbal, and that is the fill light. So just off the side of the camera package alone, you see this small vertical light that actually throws out 800 lumens of light, actually up to, because it is fully dimmable. And not only dimmable, it's also by color. You can actually adjust it from 2600 Kelvin to 5400 Kelvin, just under daylight balance, but it does come with a couple magnetic gel filters that you could easily slap on to adjust the color temperature even more to fit whatever skin tones or environment you're trying to match. Now, while of course you're not going to get the same quality that you are from like a big softbox source like this, in a pinch or just when you need an extra little kick of light, it looks really good. This means that your compact gimbal, you don't have to rig up and kind of ruin the compactness of having lights mounted on the quarter 20 or on the hot shoe of the camera. Everything just stays sleek and minimal still. You can see my studio's pitch black besides that one little light. I'm on auto ISO, so it's trying to compensate. Let's see when I turn on the little side light here. That's bright. It is at very warm colors. Match the other light, 4500. All right, and so this is 10%. This is the lowest setting. If I had to be in the dark here, would do the job, and then if I went all the way up, the camera's gonna compensate. If this was your thing, if you're vlogging like in one of those abandoned city videos or something, that's what this feels like. Definitely is bright enough for the autofocus to track and everything. So man, this gimbal just works. Like it's so smooth, and like this is a way heavier camera package than what it probably should have on it. You know, with the larger lens, the EOS R adapter, the big mic on top. This is definitely lighter than any Blackmagic vlogging setup I've ever had, so this is all new to me, but I'm a fan. So who is this gimbal for, and where does it kind of fit into the lineup? So as I mentioned before, I use the Crane 3S Pro as kind of my big with my Pocket 6K Pro gimbal. That fully rigged up weighs anywhere from 12 to 20 pounds for the entire setup. It is very heavy, and I only bring that out for big shoots. Now last year I actually did get the Crane 2S, which is kind of the smaller brother to the 3S. And to be honest, I never really used that gimbal because it just close enough to the 3S where it made sense to not try and finick this smaller gimbal that was less powerful and just didn't work as seamlessly as the 3S with the much larger expanded arms and bigger motors. But then if I was using really compact or phones, I was just grabbed a phone gimbal. So the 2S, while smaller, wasn't small enough. And then of course I've used a plethora of phone gimbals, but those of course are not powerful enough for small or full frame mirrorless cameras. And so with all of that, it is my opinion, and I will state beforehand, Zhiyun did send me this, thank you, but there was no money exchange. This is not a sponsored video. So as much as you could believe my opinion based on that level of bias, I have to say this is, as of January 1st, 2022, the best compact gimbal out there right now. It just checks all the boxes, and it does each one of them extremely well. The design is incredible. It feels great in the hand. It is super small and compact. Buttons, the dials all feel great. The motors are strong. It fits cameras really nicely. It has all the movements that a good gimbal should have. And then it's got some killer accessories like this amazing shotgun microphone, the backpack, the expansion port, and this tripod, which actually is a really good size, so I'm never scared that it's just gonna randomly fall and tip over. And of course you have the standout features like the pass-through audio and the built-in fill light. Look at that, it just looks, it's so good. Zhiyun absolutely knocked this one out of the park, and it is the perfect companion, in my case, to my 3S Pro when I don't need to bring out that crazy ridiculous rig and I just want a nice autofocus, real easy setup to get some nice shots out with the family, or as a really nice B cam for maybe I hand this to someone to get BTS footage on a short film shoot that I'm doing. If you don't care about the shotgun mic, you can save quite a bit of money and just go with either the basic or the combo pack. If all you really want is just the gimbal, it is an insane value. Of course, I will leave links down in the description to all three of the packages. They are affiliated, so if you plan on buying one and use my code, I do get a small kickback, so it's appreciated but not necessary. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and never miss out on any notifications for future videos. Hope you all are staying safe out there and enjoyed your New Year's and holidays. Feels great to be back and in 2022. Super excited of what's to come. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.